And there we are. Looks like we're live now. So hello, guys. Welcome. And we're on time again today. Sweet. And Samuel, something about you looks different. It's almost like there's a continuity error between part 1 and part 2. What happened? Are we filming some scenes, or what are we doing here?
I think what happened is that I was asked to do some surgery. I was told it'd be a good payday and they would help someone else, and so they said, "Hey, we want to bring you in the morning and do a surgery." And I woke up covered in bandages, and I guess the painkillers didn't quite work, or the things knocked me out. And I went to the mirror and looked at my face, and it was bandaged. And as I opened the bandages, it was bright red, and it appeared my face had been taken off. I was quite worried by this, as you can imagine. But then some guy punched me in the back of the head, I think, and I woke up. It was at night, and they showed me a mirror, and my face was back on. But you're right, it looks a bit different. So anything you're seeing might be just because of whatever happened to the face in between. Apparently, I helped some guy, and Queen and Country and all that. So is that what you mean?
Sure. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. No other continuity errors with your appearance today. Anyhow, good haircut, by the way.
Oh, nice. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Sergeant Montgomery, $2 with a Trekyards badge.
Oh, that's us. At what point did you know I was going face off with that?
When you woke up with no face. And then it's when I did the face-off thing.
Okay. Because I remember the bandages in the mirror thing. I was trying to visualize the movie again, just sort of, but yeah. Those of you that got it early, well done you. You deserve a brownie point. And someone just joining us who doesn't know who we are. It's like, what? What?
Anyway, guys, today's part 2 of Star Trek mistakes, visual continuity issue, things like that.
Yes.
We did 10 yesterday. We're doing 10 today, so it's a top 20.
Yes.
And it's going to be fun to get back into and talk about. So we'll sift to see how our lists compare to each other's.
Obviously, yesterday we had the extra 10 that I thought was needed, and they were both totally different, which was brilliant. Very obscure, very different, very random, very good to talk about. Now, this 10, I'm sure is going to have some parallels because we've been doing this for a long time and our brains have clicked into a certain point in the same way. But also some very different ones, and some ones you might have seen from if you went back and researched our previous top 10. And in fact, I might go back at the end of this and see where do I list 3 years, so I can go back and check how they match up. To be fun.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, these will be the bigger ones, but also the more controversial because obviously they are the top of the top list. More so for me than for you, but close.
Yeah. So, guys, I mean, we look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts as well. But 37 people here, 29 likes. That is awesome, guys. Hit that like button. And this is the time where Samuel goes and shares this around, and I tell you guys about super chats.
It is.
So,
off I go.
Commander off. Anyway, Sergeant Montgomery, thank you for the super chat. It is a great way to help the channel, support us, and get your voice heard, your comment read, your question answered, all that jazz. We really appreciate it, and as it does help us out. So if you can, please do so. Also, if you want to send us a PayPal, you can do that as well. The information for all the PayPal stuff is down in the description of every video. Just click the description of the videos, every video. Tired today. So click the description and check out it says PayPal at Trekyards at hotmail.com. I have words that I can say. Trust me, it's fine. And just let us know via the regular chat that you sent to PayPal, so we can read your comment or question via the email for that. Just let the moderators in the regular chat know, so they'll let us know, and then we can make sure that we get your comment or question read via that way. Also, don't forget you can join the channel at the rank of Captain or Commander, Captain, Admiral, Fleet Admiral, or Federation President. Another great way to support us on a monthly basis, or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards, which is another monthly way as well. It all makes for a fun time, and if you join the lives quite often, actually joining the channel is a good thing because you get your name highlighted. We tend more likely to read out some of your comments. You get a badge beside your name. You also get use of the Trekyards emojis and stickers and stuff for the live chat. So if you're a live chat regular, it's a good thing to maybe join the channel. It starts at not a very... the lowest tier is not very much at all, so check it out. Just click that join button, and then you got the options there you can check out, and if any of them strike your fancy, by all means check it out. So anyway, Yeah. Oh, and the easiest way, of course, is just to hit like, share the video around, watch our other content, and just join us for these discussions, because we really like hanging out with you guys and having these fun live discussions. We do a few every week, and we also do bonus stuff. Like tonight, I'll be doing a Trekkie trivia. I do that every Friday, where you can join me at like 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and fire some Star Trek trivia around and have fun in that regard. So lots of great stuff on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed as well. Also, there's a link down there for the Captain Foley personal channel if you're interested in more stuff, because I do a lot more than just Star Trek. By all means, click that link, go over and subscribe to that channel as well. A lot more content being uploaded there all the time. So anyway, guys, so we are hoping to have a good live today, and thank you guys for tuning in. 60 people here, 41 likes, which is amazing, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get to 50. 9 more likes. We can do it. Ozzy is awesome and throws in $10. All hail the Superior Commander and Super Captain Foley. Foley. Awesome haircut, Superior Commander, from the Federation President, Skeleton Hands. Yes. Looks good, man. Yeah.
Thank you. It was needed. Although I did get one in November, like 2 weeks before they locked down the first time. Although they shut the third time. So,
a little bit shaggy.
Yeah, but yours looks basically the same for a while. Mine gets to the point of no return, and then we went past it.
I disagree. I'd say that yours looks the same quite a bit. It looks good all the time. So.
Well, that's just us being nice to each other, isn't it?
No, we see each other. We're critical of each other, like our own selves.
Yeah.
Right? So.
That's what I'm saying. We're being more nice. How we see it, we think, oh, both look like this. But I'm filming this weekend for a special video, so this is easier to green screen.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So yeah, top 10s of each. We did our 11 to 20. We had some Discovery, some Picard, some TOS, some TNG, some DS9, and some Voyager. Or actually, maybe yes, Voyager. We did all the gambit, the whole gambit. Is anybody a favourite one from yesterday? I don't know.
Did anybody watch yesterday's? If you haven't, maybe you want to go check that out after this one. It was a fun discussion for sure, and yeah, there's so many continuity and small little things that stick out to people that both of our lists were different, so it'd be interesting to see your guys' thoughts.
Reiterate that there's a line, there's a level, because obviously, the Discovery TOS uniforms are clearly a discontinuity. You can sort of retcon it, but it's clear them trying to be discontinuity-ish. But it's like, Whereas we kind of went with deliberate flaws where they know it didn't work at all. A real mistake because they should have known better and didn't bother checking. So it's kind of those sorts of things where it's just flat out wrong and there's not much you can do about it to fix it. As in, like, they just effed it up for many old reasons.
They just don't care.
Well,
or no.
Or missed it.
The difference.
They haven't got proofread skills. But Stuart, then we're going to start with you today because yesterday I started, which means I get the last one overall, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is your number 10?
Number 10 is Dimitri Valtain being alive at the end of Star Trek 6. Even though he
not dead,
died.
Not dead.
Yeah. Yes. Standing back behind Sulu, and Sulu was like, "It's a pleasure, Captain Kirk."
Well, tell us the story, Stuart. Tell us the story.
Valtain died.
But he's there.
But he's not. That's a cardboard cutout or a hologram. I don't know. That's the emergency Valtain hologram.
I'm sure Kirk went to the Academy of Valtain and was like, he got enough of his plays. I want to think Valtain's died, so they put a hologram of him up so Kirk wouldn't see him not on the bridge.
He's like still lying on the floor behind that and covered in blood.
The blue of the carpet is no longer blue.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few visual errors and editing mistakes in Star Trek 6, but this is one that's he played a pretty important role in the movie. He talked about the incoming shockwave.
Well, he's one of the 3 noteworthy people in the entire sequence that get a close up pretty much. And
of course, he plays a major part in flashback. So
the most major part.
You focus on his character, and then to see him there after he's dead, it's like, okay, well, whatever. It's just, you'd think they knew that this was going to happen because this was at the end of the movie, because he's saying, nice working with you again, Captain Kirk. This is at the end where the Enterprise or the Excelsior veers off too.
Last shot.
Yeah. So they knew that this was like the last thing in the movie. It just seems like such a weird decision. Like, was he not supposed to be on set that day? And he's just like, I'm getting in there. It's one of the last scenes of the original cast movies. So I mean, hey, I'd want to be in it too. But
well, it shows that they did rewatch the flashback. They did rewatch Star Trek 6's intro, but Tim Russ and the team didn't actually watch the end of the movie, because if they'd watched it once, they would have seen him. Just shows they didn't actually proof watch the movie they're referencing. They just skimmed and forgot there was one more scene.
Mm-hmm. Which is sad. He dies in the movie, though, yeah?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. It's Total Voyager additional retcon. 100%. Well, it's one I really enjoyed that episode, because remember in the movie they invent the stuff with the Klingons in the movie, as in fighting the guy in the nebula. He dies in the nebula, but the nebula isn't in the film because he just warps straight in. And Valtane doesn't get any dialogue after the intro. He's only in the intro.
Fair enough.
And then he's at the end on the view screen.
I thought he died in the movie because it was like anyway, a double mistake, because he died in the movie, and or we knew that he died in the movie, and then he also saw him die in flashbacks. Okay, that's fair enough.
No, they picked him to die in the episode and then just didn't check if he was still alive in the movie. Which they should have proofwatched the movie.
They probably should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. I like Valtane. I like the episode flashback. I love the movie Star Trek 6, but
it's just silly. It's funny.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me, and this one was them. This is more them. They made a balls out mistake, right? Complete f up. My other one that as in another one I always think about, this sort of casting mistake, is that, and I absolutely adore this, because they just, again, this one they didn't realise, and they didn't realise in editing. There's a Chinese lady on the Grissom and on the Excelsior in the same movie, in the same costume.
Uh-huh.
But the Grissom gets destroyed.
Uh-huh.
It's just because she was part of the extras troupe they hired to be in Starfleet uniform, so they didn't. She happens to be probably in both sequences, even though she is dead at that point.
Could be twin sister.
Oh no, but that's an easier retcon. That's just, but it's just like they only obviously hired like 10 people, and said and so they just. But that's like it's a casting thing. One was probably the B team director, whatever. That was more of a silly mistake. This was a dumb mistake.
Yeah. Oh well, it's just I do like Valtane, and I thought that this is just a odd shot in retrospect after knowing what happens to him.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your number 10, Commander?
And I've not got banned to look. I've not got banned. Number 10 is everything I say. No, I've not got back. You know how we edit this out in our videos?
We do.
I can't do that.
We never make mistakes.
Bullshank. Whoops, bullshit. No. I have not looked at these again, so I'm reminding myself. So I don't even know what my list is. So apparently, and I can see the thumbnail for this one, but my number 10 is. But Stuart, Vulcan has no moon. Except when it has moons.
Lots of moons.
Except every other time where it has many moons, including the first time we see it after they say it TOS, and the sky is filled with moons.
There were no moons in 2009 when it got imploded.
That's true.
Just saying. Maybe they got that right. Oh.
So it's just a bit weird. And we do see it multiple times in multiple things with moons. There isn't any getting around that. And I think Discovery has moons as well.
Yeah.
Now this is obviously TOS's problem. They said something and then we're gonna skip past it. But when your one main Vulcan says to another main black lady, in terms of both iconic people, in such a matter-of-fact way, it's hard to take that scene out. It's hard to take that line out, and he's just wrong. He is just wrong, and they are just wrong. And you would think they know better in TMP, and this didn't need moons. It could have had nebula, could have had a space station, could have had a map painting of a constellation. It didn't have to be. It doesn't add anything to the sequence to have these moons, except, ooh, moons. But then you think, wait, how big is this moon, sorry, why is there a gas giant next to this planet? So it actually looks stupid in the abstract as well. So it's just a pure, they effed up.
This is going to be on the big screen. We got to make this look good.
Yes.
I remember the small moon, you'd actually see it moving.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just to create that visual spectacle. Which, I mean, fine. I mean, but yeah, that is one of the very first episodes of TOS where that's said.
That is the first movie in like the first 10 minutes. The first shot of Vulcan.
Yeah.
It's just it shows did Gene either not go back and do any research on TOS, although it's a lot of scripts. I mean, it's easy to slip through the cracks. But do you not think you'd like ask some Trek fan out there that's become an aficionado more than you of your own show, which I'm sure existed, do a quick proofread of my thing, see if there's anything that doesn't work? Although I guess maybe this was the VFX house and not the script, because you wonder at what point was there a miscommunication. As we know, well,
that'd be on the storyboard probably. Drawing planet landscape. Yeah. Let's put something in the sky.
No, you're right. Yeah, because we wouldn't add a moon in post when these cost thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. You're right. They wouldn't. That would be storyboarded for sure. Yeah. But the director doesn't know. Why would Robert Wise know? So it's just a mistake. Pure gaff.
Yeah. And Area 51, yes, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. I thought there was a mistake with Veltane in the movie. It's at the beginning, he's sitting down, standing up, sitting down. When the shockwaves coming in. Yeah. Sitting in a station, he reports it. Then he's standing, and then they cut back, and he's sitting again. That's what it is. There's like I said, some definite editing and visual mistakes in Star Trek 6. But yeah, so thank you. Something was on my mind about that, but I couldn't place it.
Yes.
Doc McGillicuddy, hey captains, my son Colin wants a shout out. Hello, Colin from Trekyards, from Captain Foley, Commander.
Say hi to Colin. I'm not a captain. He called out a captain.
Well, I hereby dub thee captain. There you go.
But as soon as I say, I get demoted. So if I don't shout you out, then I get to be captain for the entire episode.
You'll be a captain for the rest of this video, and then there might be continuity in time where you don't have the captain's rank.
You're gonna say that was a continuity mistake. That's what you're gonna do, you little dick. Look, he's a captain this week. Continuity mistake. Boo! But yes, hello, Colin. Hello. Yes, we've been doing fine. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah. Esoteric Videos, $10. Thank you so much for the super chat. My biggest mistake or pet peeve after an entire episode about the best way to tell Data and lore apart being contractions. Picard, Data, are you all right? Data, yes, sir, I'm fine. Yeah. The contractions thing was on my list yesterday, and you're absolutely right. It's in the same episode. So it's like, was that a setup to maybe have that still be lore or something? That would be nice. It's been lore all along.
So Data's not really dead in Nemesis. He just grew. That's why he's friends with Picard, because they grew to be friends after he killed Data, etc. Blah blah. Goodness. Yeah. That's a whole thing. That's a whole thing, Stuart. Wow.
Anywho, yes. All
right, your number 9.
Oh, my number 9 is poor Chief O'Brien and his ranks. He has been lieutenant. He's been different ranks, different rank pips, all over the course of different series. Even first, and he's not even an enlisted officer, and he's just had a weird career. If you really follow the rank things with him, so. I know he was just a background character at first, like a secondary character, and brought him in occasionally. Then he got the Keiko thing and the kid, and it kind of became a bit more. But anyway, then he became a main character. And anyway, yeah, O'Brien's ranks have changed quite a bit. And I haven't even kept track of how many times it's different, because it's quite a few.
Well, I think it's one of those things where, yeah, you assume he's an officer, because of course he's an officer, they're all officers. But then he's specifically an unlisted guy in DS9, which therefore miscorresponds with everything else previously, and because they never knew if he's going to come back, they just did what they did. Although I'm surprised that they've got him be a half-rank there isn't even a rank for half-rank. That's not even a pip, surely, just have a half. And that's in DS9 when he's a character where you show him unlisted as his rank. They're like, goodness.
Yeah, it's like one of his rank pips fell off. He was supposed to be lieutenant commander or something.
Yeah, but he's chief.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. He's not actually an officer. That's why he feels weird to be with officers, which is in itself an odd thing. And to have an unlisted person who isn't an officer or even went to the academy, or at least the Starfleet Academy can be the Engineers Academy, who's then the ops of the flagship in its maiden voyage. Weird guy to put in that job. Maybe he hasn't the most experience to be the guy on the Battle Bridge to Data. Gonna be honest.
That's a good point. That's a good point, actually.
But obviously, it was a whatever rank he was then. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's just mess up. That's just total.
We should actually go back and just watch every instance and get all of the rank pips and see exactly if we could piece together what. I think a lot of times he came in and he wasn't there all the time, obviously. So they're like, here's a uniform. Rank pips.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, presumably once they got Kago, probably had one that was like his designated uniform. But yeah, his first couple would be.
Yeah, and he was red to start with, then went
only
to yellow.
For the first one though, I think.
Yes, I believe so.
Same with Geordie though. Same.
That's
swap.
true. That is true.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's because it's literally such a small thing, but it's so inconsistent until it's consistent. But you found a DS9 flaw as well. It's like there's one guy in Voyager who's both a Maquis and a Federation at different points. And it's like, yeah, but they're different ranks and they've got different badges and no.
Yeah.
It's good. Like it. Good shout. My number 8. No, my number 9 is Stuart.
Yes.
Why is it that they go to dinner with some Klingons? Why is it that a few glasses of Romulan ale turns their blood purple? Because that's the only reason that these are the only Klingons ever to have purple blood. Maybe it's because Andorian ale. And it's not even really brought up again. And you always think of it. Now this was in your top 20.
Yeah.
But you always think of it as being purple, which is the odd thing. This is the outlier. This is not the norm. It's actually always red.
Well, except this is one thing Discovery did right. There was a fight with some Klingons where there was both pink and red blood in that fight from Klingons. There could be different blood types. I guess everybody on this ship is. Except what?
It's probably just a gaff, a VFX gaff, because I doubt they put that much thought in.
No, I think with the way it was done, we gave them praise for it.
We did.
At least I did.
I
thought it was a nice little touch.
But it's like such a. I don't think they probably do. But yeah, it's such a standout, and some of the very first CG was the blood, so it's just weird. Like obviously you explained why last time because of the sensors. Purple means more blood, and it's a very needed for the scene. Great, awesome. And I guess it's hard to do purpler blood, but I think just the first, because in TNG in season 1, then we see them bleed because they like smash into things and they get So it happens instantly in TNG, and they didn't put the time in. No, actually, wait. No, because TNG would have been first then, so maybe it was red first. Well, it would have been red first in TOS. I'm sure they would bled at least once in there. So similarly red first, and then purple, with the caveat of...
Maybe, like, it's a certain blood type that Chancellor Gorkin had, so everyone on his staff on his ship had the same blood type in case he needed a blood transfusion.
Yeah, love that.
Like, you could... There you go.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good idea. Because it's not as if you see lots of people with it. It's not as if it feels like, oh yes, everyone has that blood. It's quite specific feeling. So it'd be an easy retcon. Even though obviously it would have been nice if they'd said, Jim, he's got pearl blood. But obviously that's way further.
Well, even McCoy's like, I don't even know his anatomy.
Which is in itself.
TOS Trials and Tribbles. Jim, this man is a Klingon.
No, but that's just because the tricord won't beep the wrong way. He didn't know. Just beep different.
Anyway.
But you're right. I mean, that entire concept of Bones not knowing Klingon physiology is absurd in and of itself. He's been Klingon Cold Warring for years. He was on a ship that fought in the Civil War where they lost 1/3 of the fleet. You telling me he was never asked to learn Klingon biology?
Let's not forget Day of the Dove, where both Federation and Klingon crew members were getting stabbed and killed, and then coming back to life, but they were still being like treated in sickbay. Like, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah.
Sergeant Montgomery, $5.
Thank you.
Motion picture director's cut. The scene is different with no moons. I watched it last night. Definitely check it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Better bit for sure. Used nicer. Nicer CG, etc. Good stuff.
Cool.
All right, your number
8.
8 is
the captain of the Kelvin is Delta. It's such a, it's so noticeable after you notice it. I didn't notice it the first time I watched it in the theater, but it's literally he's standing there with it on, and then he turns around and sits down in his chair, and it's gone. Like that. There's no explanation. A lot of these we can explain away, like the pink Pepto-Bismol blood. You know, it's all the same blood type. You know, you can make up things for that, but this was just and also in the beginning of a blockbuster movie that is rebooting a classic sci-fi franchise
with more money than any of the other films before it.
Yeah, it's a great foot to start off on, guys. It kind of set the tone for everything. And I like the actor that plays this guy, but it's just really, like, I don't understand.
Obviously this film speaks to a setup where they don't give a shit about Star Trek and the art design. I was about to say that as if it was a surprise. Now, obviously, have you seen the Kelvin Bridge? Have you seen anything? Have you seen the cinder blocks? Of course. And so, you know, the people on set aren't interested in respecting the canon. And so if the guys have got a badge, they're not noticing. They say, oh, he's got a big blue uniform. They don't care. They're not going to, you know, so I'm not surprised they didn't notice. But as I said yesterday, as we joked about it easily could have been put back in CG and never been an issue.
Yes.
It's extremely noticeable. I notice it every time I watch it. It's especially on the big screen in the cinema. His outfit is fine, but it's not exactly an iconic Star Trek outfit. The Delta, however, it pops. Real weird. Although, what if it's like a reshoot or something? I doubt it, but it definitely was like, because he had to take the uniform off and on again to miss that. That thing is either sewed in or it's magneted in. So either that's like a reshoot and they forgot to put it back on, which seems odd. Like they didn't just take it off and forget to put it on during a take. You know what I mean? Like something had to happen, or it was between days, or you know.
It almost seems like a reshoot, but at the same time, like I said, it's literally him standing there. He turns around to sit down, and it's gone.
But they might have missed that one shot. Literally, they might have, at the end of brought him back, because every actor has a mandatory set of reshoot days in your contract. That's just part of it. You have to negotiate for more if you need them, but you have, I think it's like 10 days is the average, and so bring back for a day. Pick up lines. Yeah.
112 people here, though.
Oh,
65
excellent.
likes, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't. Let's get to 100 likes. That should be very easy to do.
Yes.
Hopefully, there's no discontinuity with the likes. I think
I haven't
seen the likes going down again like they were before. Maybe YouTube fixed that. So hit the like button, guys. All right. So your number 8. What's your number 8?
Let's find out.
Yes. Let's.
Yes. Classic one. You know how your thing was quite a small thing, literally and figuratively. When you invent a movie premise where something needs to happen specifically in a certain way for it to work, but you forget to actually design the situation appropriately, George and Gracie can't fit on a bird of prey.
Yep.
They can't. End of story. There isn't enough space to physically hold them. Now, if the ship is a little bit bigger, completely hollow, no engines at all, and not the way we were shown with that extra space, they can, but you have to upscale anyway. So, in the movie, and obviously we know they've got problems overall, but if you're relying on the movie to have a premise, and you explicitly show the movie the size of the ship, you explicitly know what it is, don't base your film around the idea these things can fit when they absolutely can't. They're not remotely in the base size. So... And you gotta wonder, did they know that, or were they so locked in, or did they not care because it doesn't really matter? I'm sure Nimoy wasn't phased by it. It's like, but like, You know what I mean? It's like, who made the choice to ignore that and just move on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Considering the movie before they established that Bird of Prey is a small ship with a
Mm-hmm.
dozen officers and men.
I mean, we have the
And I've seen
scale chart that Andrew Poet made. You know exactly
yeah,
how big it is. There's no great
yeah.
surprise there. It wasn't retcon or anything.
And I've seen different sizes of overlaid
Mm-hmm.
whales and stuff on it where the tanks could be. There would be like no equipment had to be in there. Like, sure, it's got a cargo bay, but honestly, there's so many problems with the whole thing that it just. Let's look on the bright side. At least they had a Bird of Prey and not the Enterprise. Say the Enterprise didn't get destroyed in Star Trek 3, and then they wanted to do this premise for some reason with the Enterprise. I guess they could put him in the citation tank. Oh wait, wrong Enterprise.
I'll put him in the shuttle bay. Now that'd be a cool shot. Just flood the shuttle bay. Wouldn't that be a cool visual?
Well, that's what I was thinking as I was saying the whole where would you put him on the end?
Yeah, shuttle bay.
Damn.
But you know what I mean? I would love to have known. Like, I bet that came up at some point, and they were just too far into the production because you can't change the size of the ship. Because like you see at the start of the movie, you see them in people size. Like, you know how big the thing is, but you have to put whales in it. You just hope no one notices. That's it. That's all. So it's a deliberate. It got to be a deliberate mistake because they locked themselves into a corner. I know I have that with my CG sequences. When you do enough CG sequences in one go, where the sun is somewhat locked in, and if you're like 9 shots in, you're like, that angle doesn't work as well. Yeah, because the sun has to be in the same place. Fuck.
Yeah.
You're locked in. You can tweak it to a certain amount, but you can't tweak it that much. Especially you've got planets and stuff. So what do you guys think? Have you ever noticed that? Because it doesn't bug me, but it's like it's a mistake. It's a flaw. It's an error.
Even when you see them like sliding in the transparent aluminum, and it's like, okay, from floor to ceiling, you got to get a whale in there.
Yep. Nope.
Two
whales.
Be able to swim around.
And water.
Yes, and be able to go up for air to breathe. So you need a space at the top. It logically just does not work. So. But they're talking about putting whales in Discovery's turbo shaft.
Love it.
That would work.
Love it. But I'll give them credit. The way the movie plays it, they do a good job in sort of hiding all that because you never. Yeah. Well, I said but you do see Spock with the whales, but those are animatronic whales, so they do a good job in faking it to the point where you don't really notice. But.
And then after crashing, they have to open the doors, which apparently there's doors on top of a Bird of Prey. I guess to slide in new engineering.
It's bottom.
So. Is it?
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
which there aren't doors, but yeah, it's bottom.
I guess. Okay, but anywho,
because totally the belly of the ship opens up, even though there's landing legs inside the same space, and whales can come out. Can you imagine if like one of the whales like stabbed himself on one of the opening hatches and just bled out? And it's like, oh shit, because they can't see. Like, well, they're in a spaceship.
The whales talking to the probe. I'm bleeding. They killed me.
No, but it was an accident, though. Don't worry. I just didn't see where I was going.
Yeah, he's all pissed off.
You want a medic? Yes.
Oh Jesus Christ!
So yeah, I think this is a classic one. You know,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Discovery fucks up well, lots of things, but the big turbo lifts. But this is just a mistake. So
yeah, fair enough. That's a good one. And it's one that I've definitely noticed and thought about over the years. It's like, but oh well, people try to retcon it with their little overlays and stuff, and it's like, okay, fine.
But it's sad because there is really nothing you can do without compromising one of the fundamentals, and that's not worth it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you can't really work around it.
They were pygmy humpbacks.
Although you could, to be fair, you could actually beam them in the transporter buffer. I would do that. I was not built for that, but it'd be way of getting around the problem.
It would be great if that's they cycle them through and keeping the transporter buffer. That's what gave Scotty the idea, because he had to do it for the whales. So later for relics,
the whale survived.
Yeah.
For 14
and I'm as big
minutes.
as a whale now, so. Oh.
They called me Scotty Humpback. Don't ask why. Retirement's been fun.
That's awful.
Your number
7. Segues beautifully into relics. Here we are here. Scotty forgetting that Kirk is dead. This was filmed before the whole Generations thing. And he says, "Oh, I bet you Kirk pulled the Enterprise out of mothballs to come and rescue me himself." It's like, is that just wishful thinking, or did you forget that he died on Enterprise B? Because, you know, it just seems like an odd thing to say. It could be from the transporter psychosis from being locked in the beam for 74 years, but small little thing, but it's noticeable to me anyway. Because he saw Kirk. Well, he didn't see him die, but he knew he died on Enterprise B. So that's what happened when you film something after the fact.
Now, also, there's a two-pronged thing to this, which is, one, it works beautifully in this episode, and this came first. Lovely moment. Yeah. But B, originally it was McCoy and Spock. So even if, in some tiny way, there was these two scripts, and they really couldn't, but if there's some way they were connected in the smallest way they checked, they got James Doohan and Walter Koenig right at the end of the. So it would have been fine had it been them.
Yeah.
Oops. But at that point, you've only got. I mean, I don't know why it couldn't. I mean, Scotty makes more sense than Uhura to fire a bloody anti-phase beam. Like at a certain point, it has to be Scotty or Spock. Like there isn't any other ones of the crew that could do the technical stuff. Now the other one is clearly meant for McCoy because it's down medical, but still it's Chekhov just fine. That could be Uhura, but the other one has to be Scotty. So they're kind of. It could be Chekhov maybe to the beam, but they did lock themselves a bit in. So yeah, I mean it's a flub. I may or may not be answering this question in a future project, and it be a central issue that I'm dealing with, and I'm really excited to tell that. So if you like fan films, this will no longer be a continuity error. At a certain point.
Love it. I'm glad it's on my list then, so you could tell that little.
Oh yeah, it's already written. It's a whole thing.
That's cool.
Real simple, but real effective.
Oh, that's cool. And you could give this. He's been in. He's disoriented. Just came out of the transporter thing, whatever. Because they mentioned the Enterprise, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Kirk brought it out of the mothballs to come rescue me."
Yes, it is right after. It's just a real. It's really, because of the nature of how James Doohan played Generations, where he plays it real sad and real, like he plays it beautifully. It's real dark, and I've watched these scenes back to back for research, and then he's like, "Oh, hello, lads. Is Kirk alive?" And you're thinking, "Oh God, that's PTSD. You watched him die, and you part of the reason he died, etc." Like it's hard to watch them back to back. Obviously, James didn't remember, and it doesn't matter anyway. It's like, it doesn't matter. Their choice to f up the whatever. But yeah, it's just a flub. It's just a mistake. But there is a retconnable thing there.
But I'm looking forward to now. I'm excited.
But I don't know, and I'll be honest, I don't know if they would feel they would need to go back and reread a script from 2 years ago to write Scotty's dialogue in Generations, because that's him in the future. It doesn't matter. So I could trust before they didn't need to go back and research. So it's more of an honest mistake than an active, like, we didn't care.
Yes.
I think
this is absolutely. Yeah, it's just we didn't bother to check. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right, so you're number 7, sir.
Yes. And we are still to this day waiting for any explanation. The Klingons have cloaking technology in the Discovery universe. They have it, they use it, and there's never an explanation given at any point to why, how, and who they have it. And they'd even try and close the loop as to fixing canon to it was all gone by TOS, because in TOS they do not have cloaks. They're given cloaks. That is the absolute canon. That is the end of the story.
We don't see Klingon cloaks until Star Trek 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they knew they were wrong. They knew this was a mistake. They knew this is incorrect, and yet they did it anyway. And it's quite an important part of the season, obviously. But it's for the first episode. And obviously we at the time were thinking they'll answer it, and we gave them the easy reason. Kuzma worked with the Romulans. He got a cheeky cloak so they could take on the Federation and make destabilization of the Federation and the Gav Quadrant. Excellent. Well, say that in the damn dialogue, and then have them be disabled by the end. Now, it would have been okay, if in the season they made a distinct conscious effort to never call it a cloaking device. They started with a cloaking shield, but they continuously flub and call it a cloaking device throughout. Because that's the shorthand that most writers would use. Because that's the tech the Klingons had. But it's not a cloaking device, say fans. Except when they call it a cloaking device. Except when it works as a cloaking device. Except when it serves as a cloaking device. Except when it has all the same abilities as a cloaking device. So just because they name it something different for a few appearances does not change its technology.
But it obviously wasn't effective because they could detect them from sectors away.
Thanks to Pavo, yes, absolutely. Which is also that's a whole different thing. But it's just a mistake, and they don't know why they didn't at least. Now, if they'd said in it, like say, they only ever referred to it as a cloaking shield, and they explicitly said, like, because remember, I was going to say Spock there, but they do explain how it works at one point. If it was a different style of cloak, like it didn't work how all cloaks worked, like it was more like the Die Another Day car, where it like, copies light from one side to the other side. Then it's not a cloaking device, but it is just a cloaking device, and they say it, and works the same. So it's just, and they don't bother retconning it, but they don't realize this is now the canon that they cloaks for their cloaks, but they didn't. Yeah. It's frustrating.
And Doc McGillicuddy makes a good point. Kirk was presumed missing, so sure, buy that.
That's a hell of a leap. His part of the ship got lightninged, was rubble, and was explodey with a ribbon that killed 2,000 people because their ships exploded.
And they didn't know that there's anybody in the Nexus. Like,
they may say missing, but they all mean dead. Sorry, they all mean dead.
Yeah.
It's like if you're blown up in a Humvee, you say missing in action, but you all know they're dead. Sorry, it's just you haven't found the body because they vaporized.
And Melissa Jericho, going to yours, says at least Fuller's version explained it about the cloaking device.
Which is fine, but they should have made the effort to try and retcon that and put it back in the original scripts. The new scripts, I mean.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre, because now what do we do with canon? What do we do as people that respect and try to look for things? It's like, do they have cloaks? Do they not have cloaks? Do we...
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the fun part about doing what we do, is coming up with the alternate ideas, right? So, but anyway, yes. Guys, 79 likes. We can easily hit 100 likes. Hit that like button if you haven't. Don't forget, if you want to super chat, let us know some of your favorite mistakes, flubs, any explanations for the ones that we bring up, because that'd be awesome. And we look forward to you guys participating. So if you can, please do. Hit that like button, though.
And ER says, bah, the Suliban had cloaks. Yes, they did. Your point? They were future cloaks from future people, and they weren't Klingon cloaks, and Klingons didn't use them. What's your point? Sorry, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
If you're saying that Klingons can get Suliban cloaks, then why can everybody get Suliban cloaks?
And honestly, in Enterprise, the Romulans had cloaking devices when they shouldn't have either.
Yeah,
so,
and that was on my potential list, but A, they didn't know they were Romulans at that point, and if in TOS they say we fought with primitive nukes, I don't think the Romulans had cloaking devices in the Romulan War if they fought with primitive nukes, No,
they didn't have cloaking devices in the Romulan War.
So even if you can say whatever, then they wouldn't necessarily associate those ships as Romulan because they didn't know they're Romulan at the time. So there are very easy ways, and Enterprise tried really hard to link things in. That was just a weird one. And I love Eric Henry's solutions. Just there's a space station that cloaks.
Big one, then they drop out of it, so it look like they decloak. Yeah.
Which is a cloaking device is different if it's unusable. We've had lasers for a very long time. You just can't power them, and they can't be strong enough to work effectively as a weapon. You've got laser tech, it's just not practical or effective.
Yeah. Yes, sir. 16 more likes, guys. Let's get to 100. If we can, that'd be awesome. Romulan War Bird had cloak in Minefield episode. Yes, but they weren't supposed to because Romulans didn't have cloaks back then. Anywho.
Yes. But yeah, it's dumb.
So my number 6. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. My number 6 is really simple one.
Ooh.
It's Dr. Bashir meets Data, and when they walk down the corridor towards the camera, he's wearing the proper outfit. When he walks away, he's wearing his uniform, but he's got white sneakers on, white running shoes, which I think is probably one of the visual references that Mike McMahon used for Lower Decks for all the medical people having white shoes. That would be kind of funny, actually, because you never see white shoes on anybody in medical. So why is it in Lower Decks? I think it's a nice little thing. It's a very small little thing. You're like, what the hell are you even talking about?
Tiniest thing, bud. That's like,
I know.
I'm talking intergalactic discovery canon break. You're like, he
well, you should have
wore
been more
white
clear.
shoes. What?
We were talking about mistakes and visual continuity
No,
and things that annoy us, and we notice.
But no, I'm not. It's just funny. It's just funny. That's all I'm saying.
If we could do a galactic one, like actual impactful things.
No, if this is stood out to you as a personal, your number top 6 of all time, that's on you.
On my list, it's just like, yep, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay, that's where it is. So.
But you know the reason for this was.
No.
Yeah, if they didn't need to be on camera top, they wore these because they muffle the sound of them walking, which was better for takes.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
That's it. They just didn't. He just forgot to swap them out when they walked away.
Huh.
Yeah, it's that easy. Because he didn't need to wear the full Yeah.
I just know that when they're walking towards the camera, he's doing the regular thing, and then they do a scene, and then he walks away, and it's just like,
I just forgot to.
So shoes.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and that's. I do like that crossover. That episode is a weird one. That it ends up being a Worf episode, but it starts a DS9 crossover. It's a weird 2-parter.
And that's a TNG episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why it's in HD. Not the yours is your shot in HD, but yes.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
All right.
Okay, simple. There you go. Not much to talk about there.
Not much to talk about.
My number
6.
Okay, Kronos. Well, sorry, Kronos. So, when J.J. Abrams was making Star Trek 2013, his writers, one of which is Alex Kurtzman, the famous, well-respected man for the new Star Trek, him and his writing partner wrote Star Trek Into Darkness. And when writing, they decided we're going to go to the Klingon homeworld. Well known, well talked about. I'm going to help people that want to say Kalesh, even though it's just Kalas. And they wrote down Kronos, how they thought it was spelt. And they never thought once, you know what, it's a real place in the Trek universe. I'm going to go into Memory Alpha. I'm going to go enter. Oh, it's spelled this. And then Control F, R, replace. There we go. So somehow, in the JJ verse, even though there's a post-production title, they named the damn planet wrong. Now, you can't even say in the JJ verse it's different, because their explicit thing is that this timeline only split when the Kelvin appeared. The planet was called Kronos a long time before the Kelvin appeared. We know it was in a whole different universe, but that's not their line. So according to the canon world, they just misspelled their own planet, even though it's easily researchable. How did this go through the screenings? And they call themselves Star Trek fans. There ain't many homeworlds, Stuart. There's only a couple. It's always bugged me. It's just a pure mistake. They didn't bother checking. They don't care.
Yeah, well, it's just a regional dialect. Kronos with the Q is the correct way. This is the Earth translation. That's what it is. Hold on just a second.
What do you guys think? Have you ever noticed that before? It's always bugged me.
Yeah.
It's always bugged me.
Sylvia's got an example. Yugoslavia is never spelled with a Y. Or, say that again?
Yugoslavia is always spelled with a Y.
Yes, always spelled with a Y.
But it's actually spelled with a J if you go, like, you use, like, that proper alphabet. Because they don't have a Y in the Croatian language. Like the Croatian alphabet.
Problem solved.
But yeah, then you'll see, like, Yugoslavia, right? So...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this joker says it's called Kronos and Star Trek 6 as well. When is it on screen as Kronos? I would be dubious if that was. I would be dubious if that was the case.
I think it's the subtitle when they're trying to talk to the Klingons.
Although that was just after they even invented the name, because they
Yeah.
invented it for TNG, middle of TNG. Like even the point we're at in TNG, they haven't even called it Kronos yet.
But she's, I think Uhura says Kronosva or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, which could be it, but they're also misspeaking everything. We are having bugs and whatever. That's the translation. So.
Yeah, it's just weird because like this came out after and all the other times spelled right. It's just a Googleable thing, and can be fixed in post. Like this is just an After Effects filter line and just go click click done. It just shows the lack of care and attention. This is one of the guys that helped write this film, that wrote this subtitle, is creating all the new Star Trek, and they call themselves Star Trek fans. And this isn't a small thing. This is a big thing. Sad times.
Very, very sad times. And speaking of sad times, we still haven't hit 100 likes, guys.
Oh, goodness.
15 more likes. We have 132 people here.
Good golly.
Yeah, I mean, looking at my list going, why did I put shoes there? But anyway, that was a yesterday decision. I'm just carrying it today. But that's okay.
Hey, at least you found more than 14, Stuart. At least you found more than 14.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, guys, hit that like button if you're able to. Also, if you want a super chat, we definitely need a few more. So if you can, please do.
52 minutes in, and we're at like 10-20% of what we need. It's
yeah.
It's weird actually, guys. So put in some.
Preston M has joined the channel at the rank of captain. Welcome, Preston. Welcome, Captain. Good to have you aboard.
Is that a?
Thank you so much.
What is that picture? Oh, it's a logo. Oh, it's a cool logo.
Don't know.
Cool. I like it.
It's
welcome.
spelled Kronos with a K in the scripts too, and is in the Klingish. And is the Klingish spelling.
Now, what do you mean all the scripts? I doubt it's in the TNG scripts at a certain point because they get things quite consistent, and I would notice.
I've got the Star Trek 6 script upstairs.
Yeah. Because that was written by different. I'm not as worried about them doing it because it was written by different people and they weren't necessarily in tune with the TNG stuff. That's true though. Kronos 1 is spelled with a K. That is true. I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, no, fair enough. I mean, that's what we like you guys here for. You can like tell us these things.
But it is still Googleable. Like it was Q.
Yeah.
At a certain point. Every time. At a certain point. Kronos. Yeah, I didn't thought Kronos 1. Yeah. Would have been weird with the Q there. Alright, your number 5. Midway.
Number 5. Oh, yes. This is the Enterprise damage. Star Trek 3. And actually, carrying over somewhat to Star Trek 2. When they get attacked by Khan, you see damage on the display.
By who?
Khan?
No, who? Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm out of frame. Say it. Sorry, what do you say?
Khan. I'm not gonna yell Khan.
Oh, Khan. You mean Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, not John Harrison.
Sherlock. Sherlock! Which actually did do as well. Sorry, continue. I'm just saying.
That's okay. So yeah, there's a lot more damage on the Enterprise in beginning of Star Trek 3 when it's heading towards this space dock, and also in Star Trek 2. Actually, after they get hit, you do see the damage displays. And you got damage on the other side of the ship, which apparently there was supposed to be more stuff going on, but it didn't quite carry over to the visuals. However, I just explained it as like feedback damage through the ship, which hits the other side, and some subsystems that get affected maybe. But yeah, the damage on the side of the hull is a lot more extensive, I think, than in Star Trek 2.
Well, you see every part of the battle in Star Trek 2, so it's very explicit. And this was on my list, and I took it out at the last minute because I wasn't quite as certain, because I was trying to watch the movie, and you don't see many shots from that angle, and it's the same angle, but I think more the problem is that when they cut to the internal diagrams, Spock points to a part of the ship that's been hit, and it's the other side of the ship. So that makes some sense. But I think this damage is, you're right, it's different, but also it's the same side, so it wasn't. I think it was less bad. Yeah, it's too small a thing for me. But they did repaint the ship, I believe, in between as well. Or this is something. I don't think it was the exact same miniature.
Yeah, it's a small little thing that, and apparently there is either a novel or something that fills in because it's like a 2-week distance or gap between Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3 on their way back. They actually get attacked by some Klingons or something, which explains the extra damage on the hull, and there's also damage on the saucer when it pulls into space dock as well. So,
which is
I mean, that's kind of a neat idea,
but definitely not canon in the movie, not even close.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a really bad example. I really shouldn't have put it on the list, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't like this list, now that I'm looking at it.
And these are your top 10, Stuart. The most definitive.
They're not. No particular order. Except for the first one, guys.
Yeah. Nice. But yeah, guys, super chat your top one if you have one, as I do. My number 5, which is... back to Discovery again, because of the, I'm pretty honest with these. Having real-time holographic communications from the edge of Federation space to Vulcan in real time in glorious HD, that is not technology that exists. That is a pure mistake. They knew going in that was a mistake. They knew that technology didn't exist, especially not on a very old ship like the Shinjo. Let's look at holograms for a second. In TOS, not at the edge of Federation space, because they are exploring in Federation space, but it's kind of unclear. But yeah, it's like it can be a week away communication. We'll get a message back in a week. Even in TNG, it could be a message back in a week. And this is real time, no delay. It isn't a thing. It's there, but it breaks all of the canon. You can't explain it. It doesn't make sense. Now, if he was close, okay, it's stupid to all extent, but if he's in the system, fine. But it isn't. He's actually on, they say he's on Vulcan. And not just that, but as he walks around, he sits on things, which implies that the hologram has the exact same set. Now, if the hologram is doing its own AI path to make it feel like a person, then you're talking even more advanced, because now it's not just a static hologram, it's now a fully interactive with both environments. But if he has a table and chair there as well, it's just stupid scriptwriters, stupid directors, stupid people on set, stupid everything. Now, I'm not going to throw in the she's able to talk to him via mind meld power, because actually Trip and T'Pol do that. They didn't know that. I'm sure they had no idea that happened. But this is wrong. Total mess up. They knew it was a mistake, and it's embarrassing. Now, they never really use this again, this distance, but they use it in the first episode. And they says.
And I don't like their explanation of getting rid of the holograms. I want them torn out of the ship because they cause problems, or I don't like them.
But it's on every other ship, though.
I know.
It's just embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And it's just a mistake. You can't. This isn't canon. Like, you can't take this. It's just like the D7 in Enterprise, like Katinga. This is not canon. Even though it's there, it can't be rectified. So,
that's the problem of advancing the tech that's pre-TOS to post our current technology, as opposed to following the Star Trek guidelines of the future from the 1960s. Unfortunately, you make things way too advanced in that case. When you do get to the 32nd century, everybody's freaking out because the nacelles aren't attached. Well, what else are you going to do to have something that's super advanced? So yeah, absolutely. And the fact that it was interactive and he did sit on a desk really bugged me.
Like, it would have been better if it had actually been a recorded message that I could be like, okay, cool. But then the episode takes place in like 20 minutes, so there's no time. It's like, okay, hologram, this message. Okay, fine. Fine.
Yeah, it's a definite problem for sure. Star Trek is a period piece. Please make it exactly how it should be, error-wise.
But EER does say, but they fixed this in Season 2 by showing that the tech has problems and they abandoned it by TOS. Yes and no. They say this tech is part of what the red signals affected for the Enterprise, and then they ripped them out. But that's the hologram tech. This is communication technology which uses the hologram to communicate. Irrespective of the holograms, this is real-time communication across the entire Federation. The hologram is I can phone somebody, I can also Skype somebody. The tech is the phone as the communication network. It isn't the fact that I can video call them. So the tech is still there. They did not remove that. So yes, in Discovery Timeline, they can talk to anybody, anywhere in the Federation in real time, at any time. And remember, she called him and he picked up straight away, so he wasn't busy either. Yeah. Just
Peter
embarrassing.
Lukaku, it's in $5 with no
Thank you.
comment. Thank you. Gareth Rooney, €5. Warp Drive, TOS Enterprise can zip around the galaxy, but Voyager takes 2 years to get out of K-Zone space. Zip around the galaxy is not really accurate, but okay.
Well, he means going from, wherever they were to the center of the galaxy in like 4 hours, which is not.
Oh yeah,
close.
yeah, stuff like that. That's a definite problem for sure.
But that's also again a mistake. That's a flat out mistake. Like that's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's an end of discussion mistake. It's like
The galactic barrier, or the Great Barrier, whatever the hell it was. Yeah. Good point. Peter Lukaku, though, $5. So my problem is with Star Trek 3, Starbase entrance, when the Enterprise is docking, did they make the doors bigger for TNG, for Enterprise D to enter? Well, it's a different Starbase. That's Starbase 74 that the Enterprise D goes to. And yeah, they just upscaled things. So even though it's the same visuals, like completely hands down. Yeah. We talk about that in our Starbase episode, or our Space Dock episode.
yes. And AC Castello says subspace relays, but why don't they exist in TOS? Why are they not being used 10 years later?
Yeah.
By the flagship and not a very old ship.
Yeah.
Sorry. Doesn't
Problems.
Don't know work. Then they knew.
Squadra course, $2. ESD door being big enough for Enterprise D. Your space dock door. It's not her space dock.
They just happen to film it in the same way, because that camera guy that is out there rolling the film is like, I know I'm way further out, but I love this angle. But yeah, that Starbase, we've done scale shots on our episode. It's absurdly big. It puts everything to shame. But that would have been kind of nice in TNG Remastered if they'd just CG'd the model shot to have a bigger door. It wasn't even that complicated a fix. Just to,
Last night I watched Measure of a Man, and remember the Starbase that they're doing the trial on? It's like Regular One. It's the Regular One space station, essentially. But you see a shot of the Enterprise D in front of it, and Regular One is whoop, huge behind it. It is a huge, huge, huge problem as far as scaling goes. So, anyway.
That should be on this list, but it's such a cluster F, and it was just they didn't pay attention. Whereas these, a lot of them are they deliberately to piss people off or to
Yeah, Bashir's shoes.
Oi.
Anyway, moving on because
yes,
I'm embarrassed by my list, but that's okay. Number 4 is 2 Rikers in 10 forward, which you had on your list yesterday.
It's 17 in my list, yeah, or 15.
But yeah, again, we talked about this yesterday. It's just
approach it like I didn't talk about it. That's the best way of doing these things.
These are the voyages. They had to use a shot from 10 forward, and they use one from Menage a Trois, sorry. And pan across, you see Riker sitting in 10 forward, and then the digitally superimposed Riker. So there's 2 Rikers in sick bay, 10 forward, and it's just kind of you blink and you miss it kind of thing, but it's an interesting shot, and makes you wonder why they didn't use a different shot of 10 forward, but it is what it is. It's fine. And there's two Rikers. There's a whole episode about that. There's a Thomas Riker and a William Riker, so it's fine. He just came back. Preston M, $5.
Thank you.
But the comms in every captain's ready room, or even the hollow comms in DS9, in Dr. Bashir, I presume, are also real time.
Well, you're talking post. That's the end of TNG.
Yeah.
Which is not TOS, and TOS was the front line, the frontier.
Let's forget TOS. They start the episode by you got a message, Starfleet. Okay. It's going to take this long. It's going to take a week and a half. By the end of the episode, after everything's solved, we got our word back from Starfleet. Oh, yeah? They said do whatever you want. Oh, okay, good, because we already did that.
And that's literally a part of TOS is there's a time distance communication. So it's fine in TNG because the tech is radically better. But you're comparing that to like 100 years earlier where tech is infinitely different. Have you seen the size of the galaxy compared to, in Mirror Darkly, the Enterprise kills every ship of the era in 5 seconds? Like, eras different are very much more powerful, etc. And besides also, I think they do talk to Earth, Picard, but that most of the time when Picard talks to admirals, they're not necessarily on Earth. It's like they're on a station, they're just talking to one, so that distance is going to be a lot closer. And I can imagine there's like a special frequency for the highest ranking where there's like priority channels where you can do it, but it's not like a standard tech because it's a
tight beam.
Exactly, and it's like specialist, or they like booked a meeting or something. But it's fine if it's TNG or post TNG. Because that's the mega future. It's like Discovery. I'd be fine in the 32nd century if they could just real-time talk to the Delta Quadrant. It's real far, but okay. Sure. Not beam to the Delta Quadrant, let's use relays. But, talk to them is fine. Hi,
Squadron
Chuck.
Cars, $2.
Hi, Chuck.
Could you use 3D models to find actual size of our space dock?
Yes. And yes, in TNG they often do have pre-recorded messages, which I prefer, personally. It's like, have you noticed how in Discovery they started using view screens way more, and it's instantly better and cheaper?
Yeah.
It's just, what? It's better and cheaper, do it, Crazy. And what's funny about this Riker thing is that, obviously, at this point, they only have so much budget. They're not going to get any new budget. It's the end of the show. But they could have easily painted them out. The tech existed. It existed long before that.
Just put somebody in front of him.
Well, would
that have been easier?
No, that's harder because then you have to.
Okay.
You have to. So because there's a Packard guy, he's now the foreground element. If you put a guy between the Packard and the background element, you've got to rotate out the entire Packard guy. If you're just rotating out Riker, you just need to work on those very few pixels that he's on. So it's actually more work. But it would
It's not a Packard.
No, you're right. Is the
one of the stratagem guys?
Yes, stratagema. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, although as we said, very well integration of the first version. But I mean, they built the set to look the same, and they just probably brought the same guys that lit the set back 10 years earlier. So they probably just identically lit it and then lined up the camera because they had the set plans. So it probably wasn't that hard to line up the set when they just built it again. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't doing it 30, 40, 50 years later. Like, yeah, we had this set like 6 years ago. We've all built this set for days and years, It's less hard than it could have been. Nice. Well, I'm glad it's so high up on your list. It's just such a...
no particular order.
Oh, okay. Glad it's on your list at all. My number 4?
Yes, number
4. So this is a very small one, but I always find it funny, and this is one of those big ones for me. I love the scene, I love what it gives them, but I'm sorry to assert that assuming the A is ish the flagship, give or take, at least it's one of the best ships of the fleet, that Nyota Uhura, who's been in Starfleet for probably at this point 30 years, probably maybe 40, give or take.
Yeah, easy.
She's been in a Klingon Cold War for at least 10. She was in the Klingon massive death war of 1 year, where a third of the fleet got killed, and she probably saw them in the academy because they were an important race at the time. She doesn't know how to speak Klingon, despite being the official linguist, the official communication person of the Enterprise. Not only that, she actually has to go into a book, which itself is silly and fun, and then is like this. I've never spoken it before. So she has literally as much knowledge as me trying to speak Latin from a book, even though this is literally her job and is her profession, and that's one of the 3 major races of the quadrant. It's embarrassing as a concept, really.
And she's got a talented tongue, and she managed to decipher the we're getting there. Hold on. Managed to decipher the Klingon transmission in 2009 to find out about Nero and the ship. So I mean, yeah. Oh wait a minute, that's the wrong universe.
But it's true. I mean, that her actually studied at the academy. This one didn't. But it's just. I mean, I love the scene, but you can't justify it. It's like bones.
The universal translator will be recognized. What? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like McCoy would know Klingon physiology. It's the exact same thing. They dumbed down both people in the episode for no reason. Well, to have the scene, but it's just you can't. It's just a mistake, and they knew, but it was a box office movie to look good. Now it would have been fine, Stu. All they had to do was as it's speaking, she was like, "Oh no, that's a Jabrach dialect. I've never spoken that one before. It's so different. What do we do, Uhura? Find the books. Okay." And she's trying to. That would have been it. You know, it's a very rare dialect for whatever reason, or he's from the fifth moon of Praxis. You know what I mean. But that would just be generic Klingon. You can't argue it. You can't. Unless she's really hungover.
Everybody trying to help her too. You got Chekhov there. You got Scotty there. I think
Mark,
Scotty's there.
there, put on. And the guy's like, "This is totally normal communication. This is how officers speak on our empire. Yeah, absolutely. Glug, glug, glug. Oh yeah, Bob, does this sound legit to you? Yes, their accents sound totally normal as well. God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very not Uhura's character, but you know, it was for the scene. It was funny.
Good old gamer. She's a communications officer. Doesn't necessarily mean linguistics. No, it really does. If you're an intergalactic communications officer, it does mean linguistics. It really does. Especially if you're not doing very much in a day-to-day job. Yeah, it means it does mean it. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
Yes. I just find it funny because this film knows better, you know.
It's a funny moment, but yeah, I hear you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, we're down to the last three.
Or four.
No particular order.
Oh, yeah, three.
No, we're on number 3.
Maybe. Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
My number 3 is the turbolift shaft from Star Trek Series 5.
Oh, you're shafting us.
Yes, with deck 75 at the top, even though there's only 21 decks in the Enterprise in the opposite direction.
You're going so deep it can't even.
Yes.
Fit.
Yeah. And they passed deck 52 like twice. I don't know. Just it's not deck numbers. There's some other numbering system going on that we're just not aware of. Maybe even though it says deck 75. I gotta say I do like the turbolift shaft. I do like the lights, the blue and the green. It looks really good. But you know, maybe not the right size. But at least it's not Discovery size. So. Yeah, Star Trek 5 for the win, or for the third place bronze medal. You had this one on your list yesterday, so.
And what was the why is this one so high on your list? At least to think of it to be this high.
Because it's deck 75. That's pretty high. It's up there. It's one of those ones that gets called out all the time. Everybody remembers this because it's so blatant, and it's just, even if you don't know Star Trek very well, but you've watched the movies, you know this one. You might not know how many decks are on the Enterprise. You might not know that they're not numbered that way, but it's something that stands out. The fact that they've passed the same deck a few times.
But it's a funny concept though. Once you say one thing, so if someone's like, it doesn't matter. It's like you say to them, so you're telling me that. Assuming this goes to the top of the ship, right? Deck 74, whatever. Are you telling me the bridge is on deck 75? That's what you're telling me. The bridge of the ship is on deck 75.
It's true. True story.
Because the turbolift doesn't go unless that literally does go up to the bridge, in which case we know the bridge size, and that's bigger than the bridge.
But you know where the bridge is, right? It's a saucer. This would have to be, with the length of this, it'd have to be in the neck at the highest possible point.
Yeah.
So
No. It could be angled. There's no reason gravity couldn't be altered. It could go through the neck.
It starts right at the shuttle bay. It goes all the way along the spine, up the neck, right to the bridge.
Well, no, it is straight, but it's. Can you imagine
no, it's not. It's dimensional physics and shit.
Oh, Stuart, get your head out of Discovery. Come on.
Well, speaking of, Ozzy says Triple Shaft A was out of order.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and Turd Ferguson says that's Empire State Building high. Jesus Christ, that is high. Wow.
Well, it's 3.5 times Enterprise, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big ship.
The Scotch Trekker, 2 pounds. Discovery size is much better. Triple the shafts. Sure.
And I'm interested to see if that's in your number 1, number 2, Stuart. Because that's one of the most iconic flubs.
I think it should be, but I just don't care enough about Discovery to include it in my list. Sergeant Montgomery, $5. 120 likes, and I'll throw in another $5.
Ooh.
Make me spend Uncle Joe's stimulus check.
Oh.
We have 98 likes. So hit that like button, guys. We have 160 of you here. I think we could easily hit 120. So if you want to help us out and help out Sergeant Montgomery by making him feel like he needs to donate again, by all means, hit that like button. Let's get to 120.
And you know what? Yeah, let's have a like spike. I think we should absolutely hit at least 110. So I want to see you all find that button. That is a thumb. Right now. Find it. Someone, one of your devices. Click it. Right now. I want to see that zoom up. I want to see that number. Update in real time. And go zip. Just like
107 right now. It just jumped.
Just like in the turbolift shaft, he says engage turbo, whatever he says, and they go and the
Fire the damn rockets.
And the stunt guys take over.
But the problem is, we don't want the YouTube problem with the likes. We don't want to pass the same like number 5 times.
That's
so
a good.
Do you really want to compare it to that scene?
Goodness.
No. 108 likes.
Goodness. That's good
110. We need 10 more likes. 10 more likes, guys. Hit that like button.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
Crazy. All right,
number 3. What is your bronze position, my friend?
Now this one does, and these obviously ones that get to me specifically, is actually Valtane. Valtane's death and non-death, because I really enjoy both these episodes, as you said, or both these sequences.
Yeah.
And this is obviously, and I've seen compilations, but the irony is Tim Russ, because he was heavily involved in this, I guess. There's an interview of him on the DVD. And I avoided giving this part of the story when I talked to you about it earlier because it's the funnest part of the story. He says, in a gently smug way, and you know, we did such a good job that doesn't matter what you do, we know everything lines up. We did everything perfectly. And
no mistakes.
It's so smug because he made all the effort, and then you're like, but the entire hinge of your movie is a character that was alive. The entire hinge. Now, if it had been like Rand, which would have been sadder, I don't know if she's at the end. She probably is. I mean, I've got a picture. Let's see. Yes, she is. Well, they're all there. That's the whole point. It's the entire bridge crew. Now, if they had brought back the guy who was the Sultan of the country, who walks in and says 1 second, hello. If that was this movie, or there's that guy, the cameo guy. If he had died, fine. He's on the bridge crew. But it's now obviously it is Spock's Tuvok's memory, but it's such a failed concept when like they were deliberately trying to make it all match up. That's what they were trying to do. But the fact that no one watched that last scene, because if they did, they would have seen it. No one watched it. Just why aren't you? It's just like I'm this Scotty thing. I watched every single frame of Relics and Star Trek 6 and 7 of Scotty scenes to get a sense. It doesn't take very long, Stuart.
True.
It's just it's just annoying because I love it. I love the fact that he's Valtane. He's a friend of Tuvok. They hang out a little bit in it. Like he's the entire thing. And he's great, and I'm sure the actor was thrilled he got to come back and play a character after like 6 years. It's brilliant. Mm-hmm. But did nobody watch the movie first? And that's it. That's all you had to do was watch the movie. It's all you had to do. It's very strange they made that mistake. Yeah. Very strange.
Goodbye, Scotch Trekker. See you later.
Oh, bye.
A Saucy Puppet Show puts in $10. You guys
well.
are the first ones I've seen to mention that the deck issue on Star Trek V isn't only about the number of decks, but also that they are numbered in the wrong direction. And also that decks aren't numbered like that on a ship. They're lettered A, B, C. The bridge is A deck, not deck 1. Look at the schematics, look at the blueprints. They have it labeled like that. But anyway, yes. So
yeah, it's a multifaceted problem.
Yes, it absolutely is. It's his ghost. It's his ghost at the end. Yeah, that's fair.
So what we're saying is in the 4K re-release of Untitled Country, they should put the Force Ghost look, and then put Obi-Wan behind him.
Yes.
Although let's be real for a second now. Should they actively rotoscope him out of the 4K when they eventually do 4K of Untitled Country? Should they remove him from that final scene? Because it wouldn't be hard. It's one shot.
Yes. He's also at the end. Like, you just have to crop it differently. Honestly. Isn't he at the end?
No, but I mean that's the only scene that you need to do is just him on the view screen. But they would, if they cropped it, they would remove the other guy. Like that'd be a big crop. Or no, just swap his face out. That'd be the easiest way to do it. Just swap his face with someone else's face. That'd be even easier.
Tuvok's. Put Tuvok there. He should be there. He's on the goddamn show.
That's good. I love that. And yeah, just put Tim Russ in it in general. Yeah, that's a really good idea. It's like, oh my god, there's Tuvok right behind. Like there's that lady behind Sulu. He's just like Tuvok's like this.
I should be doing this.
Actually, no. I should have Trekyards edit where we add Tim Russ just walking in the background. Hello, Captain Kirk. I met you through. Not actually think they should. They should remove this actor from the last scene to respect Voyager canon because that would be kind of fun. Because then it makes that more meaningful, you know? Because you saw him at the start of the movie, you know he dies. That's more harsh. If you know he dies and comes back to life, it's just meaningful.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
All right.
That'd be good.
Your bronze medal of all the Star Trek mistakes in no particular order.
Silver
Medal of all Star Trek mistakes in no particular order.
Yesterday's uniform. Yesterday's Enterprise uniform on Geordi at the end of yesterday's Enterprise, which honestly we've talked about before because we were just reviewed this. It is one of the best episodes of Star Trek. It ties 2 eras together. It is a solid episode, very little mistakes, and yet then a blatant, obvious goddamn mistake right at the end, where she's talking to Geordi about Tasha. Tell me about Tasha, and he's wearing his alternate universe uniform, which I can't believe nobody noticed. Seriously. It's a real problem for me because it is one of the best episodes of Trek. It's almost a perfect episode, and then it's at the end it's like, oh, by the way, we're going to screw it up for you right here. Not a big deal. Not a lot of people notice with the dark lighting in 10 forward. It's kind of okay, but you do have the black on the sleeves, which is quite obvious, and the higher collar, and the light from the table kind of shows that off. So small thing. I just don't know how this ever got through without anybody noticing it, you know? So,
yeah, I mean, I think this is an easy one to explain in that this was the last thing they shot. And so he just walked from the scene he was in to this scene. Because he's not in the episode in any other way, and no one thought of it because they just got to do the scene. You know? So I think it's easily done, and this is obviously such a big episode that everything else was more important, you know, in terms of getting things together, and you just didn't swap uniforms. And to be fair, even if, like we talked about this before, if they'd actually modified the existing uniforms, I don't doubt they made new ones. They probably just customized the old ones, and so if LeVar didn't have a second uniform, they had to shoot that day. They haven't got the 2 hours it needs to deconstruct it from the uniform. Like, that they might have been a case, well, either we shoot this uniform or we get him an ill-fitting one from wardrobe that may or may not fit, that isn't him size. Like, but they do.
You think that the hero guys would have multiple?
No, they do. That's the only problem about the scenario. They do.
Yeah,
like Marina had like 6, because we talked about it, all their bras all sewed in. She showed like 6 uniforms. It's like, yeah.
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 You can fix that scene with MS Paint, says Jericho. Turd Ferguson says, it's in $5. Go back to the Uhura checkoff pick. The screws right in the middle of the view are tight, triggering my OCD. Yes, we saw you yelling about it in the chat. I chose to ignore it because it would also mess with my OCD, and I didn't really want to deal with it. So, but thank you, Turd. I never noticed it before. Now I'm going to notice it all the time, so thank you. Area 51 puts in $5. You'd think at this point with the internet and everything, producers would stop thinking, oh, they won't notice. They'll notice. Yeah. That was the thing with Enterprise, too. With it was D4. Just use the Katinga model. Nobody will notice. That was actually the words that were said. according to John Eves, and people noticed, and they didn't even have to use it because somebody on their free time on the weekend, created a new model for D4.
That was absolutely show ready quality. Look good.
Yeah. So people notice, absolutely. Producers just don't give a shit.
Well, some producers sometimes. It also depends when and where. You say that, but then look at like Message in a Bottle. You know, the amount of effort they went to change sets and to do new uniforms. You know, one-off uniforms for Romulans. That why are they putting the effort and money in to never use them again? You know, or the Dauntless. How elaborate was that set? There's so sometimes they do. Depends on the director. Depends on the writer. You know, I know that Frake said that whenever they got a new director, there was often more of a sense of we'll see how this goes, and often they would never come back for a reason because it didn't quite gel. But they had directors that came back often, and they felt more relaxed, and they could say more things, they could do more things, and I'm sure there were episodes where they were all on their A game, and everything was really like extra sexy. They put more time in, but just like with Picard, the final episode, 1 week to make a whole sequence. So if they're running out of time, time is always a factor. You know, you always have to compromise with time. Because if it's got to come out, it's got to come out. And we know that, one of the Voyager episodes was sent via satellite to the studio like an hour before it was being released.
Yeah.
And that was a brand new thing. They couldn't do that. So they actually had more time because they could do that. And it was like absolute last minute.
Yeah. And Turd Ferguson, you're right. Or the Enterprise J looking the way it does because the producers thought we would be confused that it's a lineage from the NX-01. Yeah. That's just dumb. Beyond dumb. But whatever.
Yeah.
A Saucy Puppet Show throws in $20.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Yes.
I was waiting for the wrong uniform at the end of yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Ta-da!
Yeah, it's a so much effort episode.
Yeah. And who said that? Oh, Squadron Course. Yeah. I always feel kind of bad pointing out the mistakes. A lot of people work really hard to make 99.9% of everything good. Yeah, I know, but when you do a top 10 breaks thing on a regular basis, it's a good thing to talk about because, and it's stuff I notice all the time now when I watch these things. Like you're waiting for it. You point it out to people like, fun fact, that's wrong. So.
Yeah, I'm just having fun. This is all, these are mistakes we've made, but we can talk about them. It's more interesting anecdotal stuff, really.
Yeah.
So my number 2, and I did sort of move these around. I've got 2 pictures, 1 and 2. My number 2, for me, is one of the biggest issues, is the Discovery shuttles being used in Picard, literally everywhere. It's fine if they're in one place as one thing. Okay, reference. But as soon as you're on Starfleet Academy, you've ruined it because there's no way in hell, no way in any hell that the modern people are using 200-year-old shuttles at your headquarters. Or it is headquarters where Clancy is. No way in hell. They had plenty of time to build new assets. They had plenty of access to old assets. They had plenty of the old ships are easier. They had a shuttle in episode 3 they could have used. And they keep. It's like a fat ugly guy who's bald, right? Walks up to you and takes his dick out. It's a tiny dick, but his balls are big and hairy. And he slaps you in the face. And he's standing there and he's like, everything about this is bad. And I'm just going to slap you in the face. And it's like, oh. But why, sir? Why, sir? Why? Ah, my face. So, like, if he's in the corner, if this guy is outside, you don't see him, fine, But to slap you in the face with them, it's embarrassing. And we even gave him credit that it might just be the trailer previews. Nope. It's a mistake. They could even have fixed it for the Blu-ray by just swapping out the layers with a different ship. Didn't have to, But fuck problem. They really screwed up, and they loved their work, and it's embarrassing. They're everywhere. It's the only things.
Yeah.
Truly embarrassing.
Yeah.
You couldn't even kit bash it to look different. You couldn't even do that. You couldn't even do that. No, you couldn't. You painted one once, but just embarrassing. So yeah. because they knew.
Sergeant Montgomery came through on his promise with $5, 120
Ah.
likes. Thank you, everyone. Long live Trekyards, Captain and Commander. Live long and prosper. Thank you so much, Sergeant Montgomery. That is awesome. Thank you guys for hitting 120 likes. Keep hitting the like button though. 1/3.
And I'm hoping Devereaux is playing devil's advocate. He says, why are they using it? Same reason why Starfleet was using Miranda and Excelsior classes. They had them on hand. No. Mirandas take 3 years to make, or 2 years. These things took hundreds of thousands of man hours, resources. They're functional things at work. They get relegated to smaller purposes, and we see them on low-end missions. They're in the Dominion War because they are expendable. Shuttles you can make very easily, very quickly. They get destroyed very quickly. They get reused very quickly. They're updated very quickly. They don't take 3 years. They're not going to be respected the same. Why would they have hundreds around when they've never seen them ever? They've never used in any situation ever on anything ever before. So they've never been a thing. So no, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. You know that's wrong. I hope you're just playing devil's advocate because you... Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's probably sarcasm.
Hopefully. Yeah.
The Short Treks episode that introduces Star Trek Picard has shuttle errors too. Not just shuttle errors, but goddamn Discovery ships.
Well, it's all of the CG. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't have it then. Just don't have the shot.
Yep.
But that's as a garbage short, so.
Yeah. I never. Listen, Jericho said I never checked. Did they fix it in the Blu-ray? Of course they didn't. Yeah. As much as we would have liked them to.
Because they're already working on the next shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have. And it's annoying because the VFX lead is so smugly proud of his work. Because obviously he just sees it as his team does good work. Because yeah, that shot's composited in great. Technically looks good. No issue, right? No issue.
Mm-hmm.
And even the other shot I have with it, space, with the nighttime, looks great. No issue, and that's a digital city. Great. But the fact that you're using them is wrong. When you have modelers, you can hire a new model to build a new shuttle, and Eagles can sell it. You know, you can recoup CBS the budget by having Eagle Moss do it. You know.
Devo 77X. I mean, in real life, they have the models on hand, but they also have all the other shuttle models on hand.
I mean, yeah, Eagle Moss made them. They have them. They could convert them in a day. It's not that hard. And since they're things that are flying in the distance, you can easily make a Type 6 looking shuttle in a couple of hours. It's not a hard thing. If you're a very good modeler, not very long, texture, I mean, you know.
And Turd says, I do hate Discovery shuttles, but the U.S. Air Force is working hard to disprove you by keeping everything in service. That's not the same issue. They don't drive around in vehicles, Jeeps, trucks from the 1940s, which is what a shuttle essentially is. So no, it's not disproving us at all. They're keeping the big ships in line with like the Excelsiors, B-52s as you're talking about. Yes, absolutely. Cheaper to just upgrade the interior and the software and stuff.
The equivalent is if you said to me, oh no, yeah, they're still using Spitfires around Buckingham Palace as actively part of the Air Force. It's like, yeah, but they're not though. Sorry. Like maybe like I said, maybe the battle carriers are but those are bigger to build. And this day and age, it would be days to make a shuttle max. You know, unless if you're not replicating.
Matt Norman said I UV'd it and textured it Type 6 in a day. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just. It honestly feels like one of those things that are just trying to hurt Trek fans, and that's one of those things where you just don't want to think that. But I mean, you know, look at the Borg set design. Look at the, you know, Borgs being thrown into space where we know they can breathe in space, and playing as if they, you know, it's just filled with shit. It's just, and it's canon, you know. It's just disappointing. It would have been funny, Stuart, if it was the taxi, right? If the only time I saw it was the Picard taxi.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I'd be like, hey, it's a Discovery Shuttle. They're taxis now. That's cool. And it's yellow, and it's got, that would be great, actually. Great use of Discovery Shuttle. Yeah, 200-year-old shuttles, heavy military shuttles with warp taxis. That's great. Love it. But not around Starfleet Academy or Starfleet Command.
Matt Boardman, $5 in this week's episode of Lazy Effects. Yes. Yeah. Peter Lakako, $5. The Calypso episode is a continuity error in my mind. So far, yes.
Well, yeah.
And Gareth Rooney, €10. Professor Frink, You were riding a winged Appaloosa, yet in the very next scene, my dear, you're clearly atop a winged Arabian. Lucy Lawless, whenever you notice something like that, a wizard did it. Yes, that's exactly the answer.
Yeah.
But we are now at our number one slot.
Yes. Now, is this actually a number one slot, or again just one of the 20?
This is one that really bugs me. It's probably number one on most of my lists like this, I would think.
Excellent.
And I got 2 pictures for it to just prove my point. So,
okay.
Number one for me is The Mystery of the Moving Bloodstain from Star Trek II on Kirk's uniform. As you can see, when he first gets the handprint on, it's right near the black border of his uniform. Then later, of course, it moves up to the center of the white patch. So it's not near the border at all. So they ruined 2 perfectly good uniforms to stain them.
And those white things aren't undershirts. That is the full uniform.
Yes. I'm sure you could probably replace the white part. I don't know. But
I would wash it.
Why
You
ruin
wouldn't
2
replace it.
uniforms?
You just wash it. You wouldn't replace it. You just.
Why wouldn't you? Why would they do this? I just don't understand this. And this is in an almost perfect movie, the best, one of the pinnacle Star Trek anythings, and it's. I'm sure everybody's noticed it. I still think they need to do a toy, a little like the Art of Silent toys, because I got the Bloodstained Kirk one, but they need to do one with like a little lenticular so it moves. But anyway, yeah, this is just a thing that bothers me. I mean, it's impactful, yes. Bloodstain, dead crewman, he's got blood on his hands, cool. But the first stain, the handprint, is actually better in that place, I think, than when they moved it up. So, big problem for me, and I'm pretty sure it's probably number one on my list, my old top 10 list when we did this.
I've got that loaded up for sure. But guys, we need $40 more to kind of, I wouldn't say break even, but get our minimum, which is we did get there close thanks to that 20 and that 10 earlier on. So I'd love to see some what are your, like, seriously, throw in some ones that you like specifically for $2, $5. We'll talk about them, kind of where they'd fall on our list, if they annoy us or not. And how many likes do you want to get, Stuart?
I want to get easily 140 likes. It's only 13 more likes. I would say 150, but that's pushing it. I think we're going to go with 140 for now. So
140, I love it. But yeah, I mean, this one, it's also daft because obviously it's the white, like the entire uniform is built with this in mind, you know? Like, I'm sure there's a part in the script, because everything's been done at the same time, where it says, and we want to see the blood stain, like, you know what I mean? Like, because it wouldn't work in any other context. Oh, look at the red on my red. Look, Scotty, look. I'm scarred by this. What, sir? No? Okay. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a minor thing, I guess. Some people might not have noticed it, but it's something that's always stuck in my craw ever since I was a kid. I was like, that just... What?
But it's one of
and
the
it's not even like it just moved. Like a lot of times, like in Lost in Space, the movie Lost in Space, he draws Bugs Bunny in the condensation on the window. The next scene, it's a totally different Bugs Bunny because they had to redraw it again. But this one, it's like it's not in the center and just kind of moved or resmudged. The fact that it's initially right there at the border, the black border, and then it moves up, it's just... Because you see that kind of stuff all the time when they try to... Even Star Trek 6 has that with the goddamn Meridian patch. When Spock puts it on Kirk's back, it's horizontal. No one notices it until... Well, Kirk knows it's on there. I guess he might have moved it. But anyway, and when he's walking on the Klingon ship, it's then vertical. Like, perfectly vertical. Spock just put it on willy-nilly. And anyway, whatever. Shit like that bugs me. So.
Yes. Do I have number one? Yes, my number one.
What's your number one?
But guys, do give us some of yours. My number one, and this was a hard fought one because the Charles are quite annoying and the Valtain's personal to me. I quite like it. But this one I think is one of the biggest, again, mistakes that they knew it was a mistake and they did it and it became such an important part of the thing. And so it's just frustrating in every level, right? It is the Discovery Enterprise launching like 100+ small craft from a shuttle bay that can obviously not fit 100+ small fighters, and we actively see it launch a lot of things.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you went there, did you?
I did, because
Okay.
the entire sequence revolves around this, and yet the people on the show know how big the Enterprise is, and yet they made it bigger. They know how big their Enterprise is, which is not the right size anyway, and then they thought it'd be good to launch over 100 small things, which are not tiny. Like, they're not small, they're just small. And then we see it, and they want us to... Now, okay, if the entire second hull is empty, fine. But what? Like, it's a complete logical misstep, and they must have known. But it also shows the writer of the episode had no understanding of the Star Trek universe, which is clear from the episode. But you don't write that. Like, it's the Enterprise, where one shuttle being lost is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It launches 100+.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a deliberate mistake that they know is wrong. I don't get it.
See,
It's just...
yeah, that should have been on my list, actually, but I steered clear of Discovery. Like, I had 1 or 2 Discovery things yesterday.
Yeah.
And honestly, when we were talking about this list, I said to you, can number 1 be Discovery and number 2 be Picard on the list? Like, the whole series? As a joke. But, yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, because...
It's just such an iconic mistake, you know? Because it's like it's just deliberate. It's deliberate wrong. It's storytelling over everything else. But this is the Enterprise. It's just, yeah, and and I went for big, small, and some other things, but you don't fuck with the Enterprise, But they do.
Yeah, and there's no explanation for it, like, because they say 100 and some odd fighters or something, and there's no way, even if it's a one single person fighter like a work bee, you're not fitting 100 of them in a shuttle bay.
Nope.
Even if the shuttle bay is upscaled like that.
Yeah.
Like,
when Discovery also has to launch like a dozen, 2 dozen, like dozens of them as well, but its bay is also not that big. But you see it, and it's only got so many shuttles. Like the whole point of the episode, and we argued at the time, it should just have been 2 ships versus 2 ships, or 2 ships versus 4 ships. Like, having 100, 200 small things actually lowered all the value of everything about it, and they also don't fit. It's absurd.
well, we got some super chats, which is great. So,
Excellent.
I know, Saucy Puppet Show, you tried writing super chat, but it didn't go through. But I'll read your comment anyway, regardless. All right, so George Nees puts in €5.
Thank you.
In 2008, Ford Europe needed 17 hours for the production of a car. I think a shuttle would be produced much faster. Yes, absolutely. Shuttles would be able to be replicated pretty quickly. So yes, you wouldn't be using old shuttles. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. I have to roll early snipe at Matt Boardman. Oh, nice. Thank you, Sergeant Montgomery.
We are
Shots
starting this.
Daniel Jorgensen, $10. Great discussion. One that I've wondered about. The Breen attack Earth during the war, but decide to remove their energy dampening weapons just before. Gotta surprise them at Chintaka, I guess.
Well, no, they're able to. The whole point is they are able to undo the weapons effect instantly. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're only useful for one battle. Well, I mean, one set of battles.
Yeah. A Saucy Puppet Show puts in $5 with no comment, but then it's in the regular chat. I'm assuming the later scenes were filmed first, and when the sickbay scene was filmed, the crewman and actor didn't hit the right spot with the bloody hand. Sure, I will buy that for sure. And then he goes on to say, I typed my message and tried to convert it to a super chat. Obviously, that didn't work. So just wanted to make sure that I read that for you, Saucy Puppet Show, because we appreciate that. Squadron Course, $2. Maybe they store shuttles in the turbolift shafts. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Boom, yeah.
That solves that problem. Moving on.
And listen, Jericho, I did consider Discovery Files to pierce from nacelles. I did consider that as well, because that is, again, just a pure mistake. But that felt, compared to these, like they don't know better. They don't know better. That team is not Star Trek fans, and the VFX, and they do not know better. Whereas Tim Russ knows about Valtane, just watch the damn thing. You know, like
Yeah.
they don't know better, but they know better to cut the Enterprise. Like there's some logical things as well. You know.
Yeah. Paul Graham, $5.
Thank
the
you.
biggest continuity fail I see: Disco and Picard. Kepler Shipyards needs a 3D modeler. Well, if you guys are a 3D modeler, get in touch with Kepler Shipyards. He's got some parts that he needs 3D modeled. So if you guys can help out, please do. But yes, that's what I said. That was my joke. Put them as 1 and 2 on the list because the whole series is just wrong. So.
And there's definitely just more. It's odd when you compound them. If you have to go through a lot of other episodes and movies to get as many as discoveries in like 2 episodes. Just mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
And they're big mistakes.
Tim McCaffrey, $10. So thank you so much.
You. So helpful.
My number 1 is the Enterprise shooting phasers from the torpedo bay in Darmok. I always cringe at that scene. I was just going to mention that because you were just talking about the torpedoes over the nacelles. I think they corrected that, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they corrected all those little things in TNG, which they should do because it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we talked to Rick about that. And he's like, I don't know why they did that. I remember that discussion. Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Scene 2 Rikers. One of it's a Frakes. That's a Frakes. That's good. All right. Well.
So now I'm going to tell you what you said last time, and I'm pretty sure it's the exact same 5. I'll be honest.
Are you serious?
Well, you're pretty consistent with yourself. Like I don't know, I haven't looked yet, but I'm pretty sure it's a very similar list because.
I'd say I'm not consistent with myself, but okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, so now. We're not going to go into what our top ones were because, as in all of them, because we did just do them. So do go back and look. But we'll know if these aren't the top 5 each. So just to reiterate, this was released on May 5th, 2016. So 5 years later, almost
to the day.
Wow.
Holy shit!
So almost 5 full years later.
Awesome.
How are our top 5? And this is obviously pre-Discovery, pre-Lower Decks, pre-Picard. So we had a lot less pickings. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is us when we're happier in life. And for some reason my Chrome has died. I'm trying to refresh. Well, that's weird. Stuart, I got a continuity mistake of my Chrome dying. Okay.
Oh no.
1 second. Let me reload it. That's weird.
What about the Romulan D'Deridex firing from its deflector dish? Yep, supposed to be a deflector dish, but just got turned into a weapons port.
Yeah, but it was never a deflector in the show though. So.
No.
Okay, so my number 5 in my original 2016 list was the Flashbacks Excelsior having glowing.
Yeah. Mentioned that yesterday. Yeah.
So this is all on my list. Your number 5 was Kelvin Captain's Combadge.
Nice.
And that was what feels like 6 for you here? That was right there. That was pretty close.
It was number 8. Number 8.
My number 4, and I guess I committed to it, was the Enterprise damage in Star Trek 3 and 2. Being totally different.
Okay, that was my number 5 today. So.
Your number 4, and a discontinued contestant.
Ooh.
The only one of this, well, almost. Vega 7 being a moon of Vulcan.
Oh,
Delta Vega, yes. So Spock being able to watch
Vega.
Vulcan implode from a planet that's actually like 1,000 light years away.
And not a nice planet. A total
Not a nice
opposite of
planet.
a nice planet. Yeah.
So that was your biggest continued mistake because like don't name the planet then, you idiots. Like, how are they looking at that galaxy away?
To be fair, that's one of the planets that's in the sky. The moon thing that you mentioned. It's Delta Vega. There you go. So it's not a moon. It's another planet just nearby, close enough that you can see.
But also 1,000 light years away.
Yeah.
It's a magic one. It's like the Barzan wormhole. It shifts. My number 3 was them forgetting Picard had hair in the Academy. Despite being one of the most famous episodes of TNG, they forgot he had hair, and it wouldn't have taken much to just film Tom Hardy before they shaved his head, and then filmed him after they shaved his head. Because the audience.
So you're talking about the picture of young Picard from Nemesis.
Yes.
Tom Hardy. Bald.
Because the audience is so stupid that they need to know that he's bald for him to be Picard, despite not being bald when he was in the Academy. But you know what? Star Trek fans are actually rather clever as an audience. We're some of the cleverer bunch to other pop culture style thing. So of all the people that would get it, we would get it.
Mm-hmm.
That was my my third, and I can see my frustration at that. Didn't even occur to me this time. I'll be honest. Your number 3 in 2016 was the Deck 52, Deck 64, Deck 76.
That's my number 2.
That was number 3.
Oh, number 3 today as well. Hey, there you go.
There you
Nice.
go. My number 2 was the Double Rikers.
Wow.
So that was up like 10 points. But again, Discovering Picard does change the game a bit. Your number 2,
Yeah.
and you didn't include it, but you did mention it just a moment ago. The Viridian patch, which went from horizontal to vertical, even though Cook didn't know about it until after he was off the
We
planet.
did. Yeah. Spock put a Meridian patch on my back. When did you find that out, first of all? Anyway, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, continue.
That was your number 2, Stuart. My number 1, although I don't know why, but I guess it was so iconic, is the Turbolifts in Star Trek 5. That was my number 1 of my top 5. And your number 1, Stuart,
Let's see.
is the Bloodstain in Star Trek.
The mystery of the moving bloodstain. Yes.
Yes. So there you go. That was our top 5 years ago. Some
Pretty
the same.
consistent.
Yes.
So that should tell you a lot about how we do make our decisions, guys. I don't know if we're stuck in our ways and just old dogs, but
Well, the
Jesus.
iconic ones are iconic for a reason, and that's the whole fun. The sad thing is obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of my 20 are either Kelvin, Discovery, or JJ. So that tells you how broken that is.
I've got a Kelvin in this today's. Oops. And I have a Discovery, Kelvin. Yeah, I have 1 Kelvin and 2 Discovery yesterday. So 2 Kelvin and 2 Discovery. I guess I don't consider them. I don't know. Damn. Well, there you go. Interesting. But we have some super chats. Let's get to those. There we go. Yes, Squadron Course, $2. How about how many serious errors in all of Trek? How many serious errors in all of Trek? 100?
It depends how you quantify it, honestly.
Yeah.
But you have to exclude Discovery and Picard, honestly. Honestly, you'd have to. It's not really fair otherwise.
Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Remember the eugenics wars between 1992 and 1996? Hashtag me too. Yeah, we remember them. I do.
Now, Sean, you say that. I don't know if you're serious, because we know the Star Trek universe isn't our universe, isn't our world. So, there was. Because it's not our world.
They were just reported on, and it seemed like trouble over there that we didn't know about.
It's like, that there was, Henry Starling invented the processor. Like, that happened in the Star Trek universe, didn't happen in ours. Like, it's not our world, man. It's an alternate universe.
Although when Voyager goes back to 1996, there should be, like, eugenics wars stuff going on. But I guess that's all overseas.
That's LA, man. LA is always sunny and beautiful.
Yeah.
Eugenics war or no eugenics war, Stuart. Just because there are some guys with a machine gun arms gunning people in the streets that are drug addicts doesn't mean LA is not people skating and scarf wearers. It's beautiful any time of year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the ironic thing is, even in that episode, when they go to Sarah Silverman's room, she's got a model of the Botany Bay on its launch thing with the launch booster rockets under it. So they knew the Botany Bay. It was actually a model of that in her quarters, or in her, not her quarters, but her apartment.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah. James McGill, $2. When Q made Data laugh, you can see his fillings.
Love it.
Well, no, he's a metal man. He's an android. Not fillings, just metal that's been like chipped away or something.
That's special advanced androids.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, guys, let's do one more like spike, hit 140, and super chat spike of $8, and I think we'll both be content with that. But if you want a quick fire, anyone that it annoys you, or you know what, is there any mistake in all the Trek like these content that you just find personally like funny, just like a okay, I mean like groan worthy? Throw some of those out.
Yeah, so hit like, guys. 5 more likes would be awesome. Kevin Scott, 76, $5. Number 1 mistake: how did Kirk and Spock go back in time to do those commercials in the 1980s? So she's the Guardian forever. They needed some extra cash.
Yeah.
Simple.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Guardian forever. It's important.
Super important. Matt Boardman, $5. Snipe. Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah.
3 more likes though. Come on, 2 more likes now. 2 more likes, guys. It's easily doable.
It's esoteric video. It says PayPal.
I donated on PayPal. What the hell? Let's see.
What?
Check the PayPal now.
Well, I'm right. I do agree, Ozzy. I'm surprised that Stuart did not say the Turbolift and Discovery, because that is again a unjustifiable visual mistake.
No shit.
No shit.
No shit.
Double dumbass on them.
And so forth.
So forth.
Let's see. PayPal. Okay. Okay, so we got $5 from Joseph Snell. We also got, let's see, another $5, and he says, "Hello, Commander. I thought I'd ask, since you guys are live, if either of you were still potentially interested in reading my Orville spec script. Like I mentioned, I know your time is valuable, so I could give a donation to compensate you for the feedback. Either way, you guys are awesome. Thanks much." We were just talking about this the other day, actually.
Yeah, we did send you an email. We just have to, we have to have the time to read it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we will take a look at it.
And I'm currently, trying to do something pretty important that's time sensitive, and Stuart has a family. I don't know.
Stuart has things going on too.
Yeah. So yeah, it ain't top of the to-do list, but it's definitely there on the to-do list.
It's on the radar for sure.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to send PayPal for that, but yeah.
Yes. But I don't know if you guys noticed, we did do some. We've been updating our graphics, and those are really expensive in a good way. So yes, that was certainly gonna. And all the PayPals go towards basically the graphics we commissioned earlier this year. So yeah, very helpful.
Yes. So have we hit our goals? We have hit 140. Yes, we've hit all the goals. Thank you so much, guys. AC Castillo, $2. Klingon cranium facial changes over 1 lifetime.
Nope.
Well, if you're talking about the TOS, that's perfectly explained in Enterprise and also FASA, so we're not going to talk about the Discovery things. The whole list would have been Discovery and Picard if we really wanted to
dive into it. Yes.
But all Trek has problems.
AC. We know Klingons had ridges for all of the past. We know they have them in the future. They just had surgery. It's that easy. Literally is that easy. And they've had surgery like 40 years ago, so no one talks about it because they've had it for 40 years. It literally isn't even a problem.
Nope.
Not even close. It's just interesting more than anything else.
Squadron Course, $2. Snipe Dog for shizzle. And Gareth Rooney, €5. Annoying, terrible shield technology in DS9.
I think he means in the DS9 space battles where there ain't no shields or registries, so everything gets hit and blown up because there is no shields, even though everything would have shields. Yeah, and that is one of those things. Again, they had no time, but those battles were as ambitious as they could possibly have made them. But yeah, no ships have registries except the ones in front of camera, and no ships have shields, and no ships in the background do anything. So lots of problems there, because I assume ships have registries.
You'd hope so.
You'd hope so.
Although in a war, when you're sending in like the red shirt fleet, they don't need that shit. So.
Oh. Yes.
Lost alone, Spock's ears change constantly. Well, guess what? So do yours. There's two things on the human body that never stop growing. That is your nose and your
And your
ears,
penis.
because
Oh.
they're made of cartilage. They're made of cartilage, and cartilage is soft material, which is always regenerating. So your nose and your ears are constantly growing or changing in some way. So Leonard Nimoy was very particular about his ear shapes. Some of them kind of annoy me, but yeah, I mean, it's perfectly explainable. So good call out, but.
And you know, we can change our ears by having the implants that stretch them and destroy them, and so there's nothing to say that Vulcans don't like having the occasional ear treatment, kind of like tweak them slightly. The new trend is pointier ears. The new trend is more subtle ears. Yeah,
a little bit of a curve.
Over a curve, add some inches. Ear enlargement surgery. Or reduction in the case of I heard that Sarek, he had to have ear reduction surgery because they were too big and they distracted some of the females on Ponfar. Even if they weren't on Ponfar, they would sometimes.
And they were giving him neck pain, so he had to get that shit reduced.
And also, he could hear sonic vibrations from certain radar and sonar. It's because sonar in space. So as soon as he was flying, the sonar in space, every time it went by Pavo, just I hear it. So he got some surgery.
And when his stepdaughter Burnham cried, so you could hear that from no matter where she was.
Oh, that's why I got him really
back in space. Yes, it gets kind of annoying after a while. Every day.
Oh, just briefly, I know not in my list was the Tribble thing, which I included in this. I wanted to include something Discovery. I thought it was kind of funny because Tribbles are cute. But this is also a deliberate continuity mistake of humans being the ones that create Tribbles, given that they explicitly say in the dialogue of earlier episodes there are Tribbles before this that are nuisance. So if the Tribbles in this episode are not nuisances until he makes them, it breaks every Tribble before that. But we know they're...
Yep.
So it's fine if there's an X, but also silly, but they don't even bother researching Tribbles to invent Tribbles. So I don't consider this the way Tribbles are created. I consider this maybe a new version Tribbles were, but not the Tribbles. This is not the ones that destroy the Clan Empire.
Yeah. You know what should have been on the list is the exploding bird of prey that gets reused multiple times and the guy getting sucked out.
Someone mentioned that in last week, but for me that's just like, I mean, you know why. You know why. It's like, it's not the same as, it's like why would you need to build a model to blow it up and spend a day on set? Why would you waste $50,000 to do that?
Just record it from multiple camera angles so you can use the same explosion from
now
different angles.
That is true. Now the only thing I'll say to that though is that they had to use a slow motion camera, which are more expensive at the time. They had to rent a second camera and bring it in and put in a motion control rig because obviously it was probably moving as well at some point. So that you're right. It's like at the time they're like, well, we know one angle. It costs us $30,000 to get a second camera in for the day, just to maybe see how the Clan Bird of Prey explode in a future thing. Also.
And see, would we have been displeased? We probably would have been if they just mirrored the image of the explosion. They didn't even take the time to do that. But even if they did that, we still would have been like, that's a mirrored image.
Yeah.
Well, actually.
Well, it's always better that it didn't do mirror because it's like, yeah, they know.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where there is just no money. There is no money, there's no time, and you can see it blatantly. Whereas often it's like, you can make money.
Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. Do join me tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for some Trekkie trivia again. Been doing that. Yeah, probably. If you guys can stump me. We've been doing that every Friday, and it's been really good and really fun. So if you guys can join me, please consider doing so.
But are you having Romulan ale?
I will not be having Romulan ale.
Because if you were, your blood might be purple, and so you could show the audience that's why Gorkon's blood was purple, because they're full of Romulan ale. Which I think is actually a really good retcon.
Started out by see red. I'm going to have some drinks. At the end of the stream, go back and focus here. At the end of the stream, I'll just there, now it's purple.
Yes.
There we go.
It's an easy retcon, though.
And on that.
Quite a retcon. Yeah. We'll see you next week, guys, and he'll see you later tonight. Until then, he's got a Foley.
He's Commander Cockings.
And we're Team Trekyards.
And you are on our top 10 awesome list, all of you.
Each one of you specially.
So, yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.